for God is itself its own reward. In practice of Vedanta, suppose you say you analyze, I am not the body, not the mind. No, it is little hard, dry. You get nothing now. You renounce this, renounce this, renounce this. No? But in the path of bhakti, when you say, oh, it belongs to God, it's God's gift. You love something, think, no, I don't love the object as object, but it's God inside. No? So you, with that feeling, you get the immediate some type of joy. That is the bhakti. So it is as if you are enjoying your journey every step. Vedanta will say, renounce everything, detach from everything. So detachment, renunciation is a hard thing. We are human being, we have our human heart. So when it says, give up, detach, don't be attached to anything, it's very difficult. Love only that supreme divinity, Satchidananda Brahman. That's very difficult. But when it says, no, 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 this world, God is there, that's why the leaves are so bright. God is there, that's why the moon is so beautiful. The sun is so sweet. Wherever you see a charming anything, it is all God, 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 God. Only manifesting through different costumes. Then you have your relationship, you have your normal activity, but you can connect yourself with God also. When we do that without God, that is called Maya. That is called ignorance. And that has its own bad effect. There is separation, there is tears, there is crisis. But when you think that you love God, then what will happen? What you get from God, everything is sweet, no? If God gives you anything, because it comes from His hand, so it is sanctified, it is purified. So you can think that way. So this is the verse says that there are many ways of realizing God, as we have read, that God can be realized in the path of bhakti, devotion, in the path of analysis, knowledge, in the path of meditation, in the path of activity, service to God, service to others as God. No, you can do all these things. But bhakti, we are reading this devotion, which is very natural, instinctive in all of us. We have love, we want to love. We want to love something and we want to be loved. So, and God is the embodiment of love, pure love, infinite love. All love are limited because it comes to the finite body and mind. But God's love is infinite. That's why the sages and saints, they're charmed with the love of God. And as a result, what happens? They're so absorbed in that bliss. We have read that. That joy is limitless joy. That bliss is unending bliss. But you cannot jump in one stroke to that level. Therefore, this love, the path of love, which follows that seeing God in everywhere, serving God in my life, I am a child of God, I am interacting with God in different costumes. So this type of philosophy, which to follow up Bhakti Yoga path, that is much easy and much rewarding, because as you move in this journey every day, you can feel the joy of the path itself. As I give the example that you are climbing the rock in the mountain, round mountain climbing with a rope climbing. Vedanta is like rope climbing. You go, 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 go. And your total focus is on holding the rope and making step by step, inch by inch to reach the top. And then that time you have no time. Reject this. Don't look at the right side. Don't look at the left side. What is beautiful? What is not beautiful? No time to pay any attention. Not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. Till you reach the climb. And because Money grip is so important and your attention is so focused. Now, this is the path of knowledge. So that is difficult. That because when you are making a journey, you have to give up everything. No attachment. If you keep attachment, then you cannot go to the next step. You want to hang on to the lower step, then your mind will not, you will not be able to move another inch in the rope. But in bhakti path, it is like, as I suggest, that you take a flask of coffee and all the munching things, snacks and things, and you walk a little bit on the trail, and the trail you stop, there is a vista point, you take rest there, have sip a cup and then munch it and see that beautiful ha 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 ha. Then you again move somewhere and again stop. So it is its own reward. You are getting in your journey reward, 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 reward.
You may not complete your journey this lifetime.
That is a delay. But if you are intense, then you will, every Ramakrishna said, any path, you are sincere, then it will happen. But true, because you are taking longer time, you are paying attention to the charming things, to the snacks, to the coffee, to some sweet meal, no? So that will be the delay. But it's a charming path. You need not to tax on yourself. I have to give up this, I have to give up that. If I give up, then what is my life? Many people will think. But it is not giving up, but we are giving up lower thing to get something higher. Anyhow, so that is called the path of bhakti, and that bhakti path is rewarding. And as you move on, you need not have to say what bhakti path can give you. Bhakti gives bhakti. Your love gives love, the joy of love. The path itself becomes sweet, not like the dry path of Vedanta. Not this, not this, not. Vedanta is not dry. When you reach the goal, then it is not dry. It is all joy. But when you are moving towards the highest joy, you have to give up the lower joys, all the petty joys. You want to get a good job, then you have to give up your comfortable job of say 40,000. Give up that 50,000. Give up that 60,000. Go on, go on. If your goal is 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, so give up this job, give up that job, give up, give up, give up. So that's why apparently the Jnana path appears that it is little difficult. Now we have read that verse. That's why in the Narada says the spiritual realization is its own fruit. The result of following the bhakti path is, has been said, Swayam Phalarupota iti. That is the fall, result at hand. Following the path of bhakti, you get the result, immediate result. Peace, joy, peace, some blessings inside. No? Though not the highest, but you get a little one step up, one second step up, third step up, like that. So we have heard that this explanation that supreme love is identical with the spiritual realization. That ultimate path leads to the realization. So supreme goal would be to the highest realization. That is, Narada indicates that the unfoldment of divinity. I am on verse number 30, though we have read on page 74 of the book. Verse 30, page 74. Narada therefore indicates that the unfoldment of divinity which is within is not the effect of any other cause. Your heart opens up for higher joy. And it is a gradual unfoldment. So, to say that bhakti, a spiritual realization, is its own fruit means that it has no cause or that is not the effect of anything else. You don't get the love for God for doing something else. You are serving God and getting love of joy. So that this explanation, the explanation of this is as follows. I have read the book from Swami Prabhupada on the other day on page 74. Now today I am reading page 129 of the book, which is Swami Tyagishananda, the other book. So what it says, the same idea will be explained in a different way. The explanation of this is as follows. We have seen that all self-effort in the form of spiritual practice holds good only in the realm of avidya and maya. All our practices, according to Vedanta, even practices we are doing, that is in the realm of this duality. No, I say I am not this body. That I am saying in this being in the midst of this maya. The result of these practices are also within the providence of maya. That you do something and get its benefit, both are within the realm of maya, the realm of causality. These practices cause the destruction of ego or purity of the heart. But spiritual experience is not mere destruction of the ego or purity of the heart. It is the eternally perfect nature of the self revealing itself spontaneously when the obstructing causes are removed. Here is all love, here is all joy. There is an obstacle, there is a covering. And that covering is layer by layer is lifted so that inner joy, inner peace manifests more inside. So Bhakta feels the joy of God little by little, more and more by this practice of devotion. Efforts do not cause this experience. In worldly sense, you do this work, you get this result. No. You spend 1 hour in cooking, you make a good plate of food. No. Cause and effect. But this spiritual experience is not like that you do this and get something from outside. Rather, what is here is covered by ignorance. By your practice, you are removing one layer of darkness, another layer of darkness, and the more the inner joy is manifesting in your life. So it is not the cause and effect. Cause and that's why it is said God is always with us. God realization does not need any sadhana. But all our sadhana means spiritual practice is needed. Why? To remove the coverings, dark clouds which have gathered around, to wipe out that cloud, blow out that cloud by spiritual practice, calling upon God, praying to God with tearful eyes or with sincerity or selfless work. These are cause, not cause for God realization. God is already there. You need not have to realize. Realization is blocked by some obstacle. Remove that obstacle. So that is the sadhana. It is the eternally perfect nature of the self, self revealing itself spontaneously when the obstructing cause are removed. When the sky is clouded, suppose there is no cloud in the sky, you have to bring the sun from some distant land. Sun is all the time there. Whole day, sun is all the time there. As a cloud is covering, so we don't see the sun. So the experience for God realization or experience of the joy, we don't need anything. But what has happened, like the cloud has come between the sun, inner spirit of joy, and me, and that cloud is thick cloud. So only spiritual practice is to fan them and wipe them out. And when it will be as much the thinner cloud will be thinner and thinner, glow of light will be coming more and more and more. So experience is, that is bhakti. It is the eternally perfect nature of the self, revealing it spontaneously when the obstructing causes are removed. Efforts do not cause this experience because where the experience takes place, one has transcended the law of causation. It is impossible to relate that absolute state to spiritual practice on the link of cause and effect. So, moreover, we have also seen how such practices by themselves are powerless to produce even the condition necessary for self manifestation unless assisted by the grace of God. You may do how many spiritual practice, you may do how many meditation, you may do how many pranayama, You cannot do by yourself. You need the grace of God. That is also Vedanta student. As a Vedanta student, we accept that. You cannot do it by yourself all, but you should have to exercise whatever God has given the power. But you are to, His grace is the last point to surrender. So that is a part of deep aspect of spirituality. That how my darkness, I am feeling so weak today. I am feeling so humble. I am meaningless person in the whole world. I am suffering. I am being ostracized. I have been uh, bullied by others. You are thinking, no, that is you, the physical body and mind, which is covered with this ignorance. I am the body, I am the mind. When that cloud is wiped out, what will happen? Self will reveal itself. And then the glory of the Atman, glory of the God's power will be manifesting within. So you know, don't need anything for that realization. So, but you need some cause to remove the obstacle. You need some sadhana, practice. Moreover, we have also seen how such practices themselves are powerless to produce even the condition necessary for this self manifestation unless assisted by the grace of God. As the self, big self, our inner self, pushes on towards reality, God rushes in on it. What a beautiful. As the self pushes on towards reality, as our self moves towards to that reality, what happens? The God also rushes towards us. As we think that we are calling upon God, but God is also waiting for us. We say that, oh, I am calling upon God, God does not give any response. No, there is an obstacle, miscommunication. No, you are trying to call somebody and the phone line, something has happened. As you do in distant calling or even WhatsApp and something, the Wi-Fi connection is getting cut. So you are wanting to talk. To whom you are calling, he is also wanting to talk. But in between there is some obstacle. Similarly, God is willing to open His divinity in us. And we as students want to go to that divinity closer to Him. But we are not being able to do. Someone has come.
Oh, connection.
Hey, connection is gone. So people are waiting, listening, and I am also telling, but the connection.
It's back.
Yeah. So I'm saying that. So that's why this is called that there God is also willing, and the devotee is also trying to reach. But there is the obstacle. To remove that obstacle is the major task of our spiritual life. If the aspirant takes one step towards God, God takes 2 steps or 10 steps towards the devotee. Grace is only the theological expression to indicate this inflow of divine energy, which is considered to be the response made by God to human effort. Really, however, grace presses in upon us eternally and merely awaits our voluntary appropriation of it. As Walter Hilton puts it, quote, though it be so that prayer is not the cause of grace, nevertheless, it is a way or means by which grace freely given comes to the soul. Huh? Beautiful word. Though it be so that prayer is not the cause of grace, because you pray, God's grace comes. No. Though it is not. Holy Mother said, not because you have chanted the name of Lord so many times, so God will have to come to give your vision. No, it cannot be put into condition. But what? Nevertheless, it is a way or means by which grace freely comes to the soul. Prayer is such a thing, the God's grace actually makes His way to our heart. Now, today we'll be reading the verse number 31. 31. And that verse says, this Narada is giving this aphorism. 31. It gives the example. Rajagriho bhojanadishu tathaiva drishtatvat. Rajagriha means palace, king's palace, and the bhojanadi and the kingly service of nice dishes there, as it is we experience, it is like that. Meaning, suppose, what does it mean? You see the palace of the king from a distance. You see that there is a grand feast given by the king, and you are just watching. Will your hunger be appeased? Will you enjoy the palace? You are seeing from the palace from outside, but what is the joy in palace you have not experienced. It is like that in spiritual life. If you only know, if you only appreciate intellectually or emotionally, but not experience ourselves, it will be worthless like that. Like being in the palace, you are just onlooker of the palace. You don't enjoy the palatial pleasures. A grand feast is given in the palace. King has given a grand feast. You see, someone is eating. Someone is eating a sumptuous food, does not fill your stomach. Your appetite is not filled up. So this is the point. It is so you have to experience yourself. Main theme is bhakti means you have to experience the love of God yourself. Someone has done that. Someone is singing and dancing in the name of God. Huh? Someone is getting absorbed in that. Will not satisfy your inner experience. It will be just, you can observe, but you cannot feel that bliss inside. So it is you have to do that. So that is the meaning. So it says, 33rd verse, its running meaning will be that therefore the highest spiritual realization, 35. 31st, yes. It says, for it is seen only thus in the case of the king, home and dinner. What does it mean? We are coming to that. On the page 75, we find this. Prabhupada says, a man cannot please a king by merely knowing about him and seeing his palace, nor can a man satisfy his hunger by the mere knowledge. We can talk of Vedanta day and night, talking about knowledge will not satisfy our hunger. And I know, oh, this king is very generous, God is very generous, God is very good, God is all love, God is all peace. And if I get the greatest protection from God, I need not have to worry about. Knowing this intellectually will not do anything. So a man cannot please a king. You cannot please God because you know about God. But you have to have a personal relationship. You have to feel his presence and be blended with his presence. A man cannot please a king by merely knowing about him and seeing his palace, nor can a man satisfy his hunger by the mere knowledge and sight of the food. Therefore, what is ultimately point comes? Na tena rajagriha puritoshaha kshudha shantirva. These two verses are linked together. By this, that you know about the palace, you know about the king, That will not give you to enjoy the what palatial joy is there. You cannot get that. Neither you will be the king, you can please king because you know about king. That means knowledge can, Ramakrishna said, knowledge can take you up to the outer courtyard. You have to get in the inner courtyard of the home, then you need bhakti. That's why bhakti is given the feminine gender and jnana is given the male gender. Meaning, male folks cannot go into the inner courtyard of the female. And intimate people only can go there. So God interior circle is there only entrance by love. That's why you may know much, but knowing will not do. Experiencing is point. So it says, it is like, similarly, man cannot be satisfied by the knowledge or perception of God until he love comes. So, these two verses together means this: a man cannot please a king by mere knowing about him and seeing his palace, nor can a man satisfy his hunger by the mere knowledge what is good food and the sight of food. There is beautiful dishes. You see that, your hunger will not be satisfied. You have to eat and enjoy yourself. So that, therefore, a man cannot be satisfied by the knowledge or perception of God until love comes. So this is the major point. Experience. That means these two verses are emphasizing that experience is the core point of life. Not knowing is enough. Knowing is up to intellect. But Atman is beyond intellect. God is beyond. That's why, what is God doing? Many people put this question. What is God doing? How shall I know? Who am I? My intellect is so little. How much it can think of the wide expanse of this world. We have no idea about infinity, infinite creation. So, by love only one can unite. So, these are the two verses, and I'll read its explanation. Again, what I read in verse number 31 and 32 today, just to emphasize so you understand, two verses. First one, Rajagriho bhujanas disu tatha eva drishtam, meaning a man cannot please a king by merely knowing about him and seeing his palace, nor can a man satisfy his hunger. Na tenu rajaparito soha kshudha santirva. Hunger. Your hunger will be satisfied. If someone eating a good food and you see that, your hunger will be satisfied. No. So you have to experience yourself. Or you know so much about the king or say the boss, highest boss of the world, the lord of the world. No. Intellectually you know. That will not, your satisfaction will not come there. Only intellectual satisfaction will come. That's why intellectual satisfaction is not the goal of human life. Realization. Ramakrishna said again and again. Swami Vivekananda said, realization. Realization is the essence of religion. Religion is realization. Religion is not mere talks, mere intellectual understanding, intellectual jugglery. So a man cannot please a king by merely knowing about him and seeing his palace, nor a man can satisfy his hunger by mere knowledge of food and of sight of food. Similarly, a man cannot be satisfied by the knowledge or perception of God until in love comes in his heart. You have to feel the attraction for God. In Vedanta also, why you will love Brahman Atman unless you love Brahman Atman? You will know how. Why shall you go to temple and worship the gods and goddesses unless you fall in love with them? So love is the key point here, divine love. Now, this Swami Prabhupada gives this example, more quoting from Bible. The Bible tells us how some Christ's disciples did not recognize his true nature, even though they were constantly together. To stay with even Christ, his disciples didn't understand him fully. Ramakrishna, his disciples stayed with him, but they have not fully understood, excepting Swami Vivekananda. And also Swami Vivekananda said, I didn't understand. Huh? So true understanding is very, very, very difficult because you have to be like that. So even though they were constantly together until he revealed himself, means Christ revealed to his disciples. The Ramakrishna revealed to his disciple. So Arjuna revealed his glory, and Krishna revealed his glory to Lord Krishna in the cosmic form. I am this Krishna, she my divine form. So Christ also showed his divinity. Ramakrishna showed his divinity. So unless they're gracious enough, Ramakrishna gave the touch on January 1st, and see the illumination came to so many people. Unless he showers that blessing, realization does not come. That means we have to blame him? No. Oh, you are not giving me. That we complain always. I am calling upon you and you are not coming. That is not true. I am calling, but in my calling there is a gap. My mind is not fully centered, and I am not pure enough, or the clouds of my mind, that's the impurity. Mind is not washed away. So unless that is done, his grace cannot be experienced. But his grace is necessary. Jesus said to Thomas, if ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also. I and my Father are one. And see, Vedanta, in Bible, such words are there. People don't talk about these things because then their duality idea will go. Church philosophy will then crumble. Christ talks about these three states as Hinduism talks about: duality, qualified non-dualism, and absolutism. So Jesus said to Thomas, if ye had known me, you should have known my Father also. And from henceforth ye know him and have seen him. Now you know that you have seen me, you have seen God. Ramakrishna said, you have seen, if you've seen the Son, you have seen his Father. Someone asked Swami Brahmananda, oh, we have not seen Ramakrishna. Well, you are seeing us, you have seen him. Because in them there is nothing but God. Philip saith unto the Lord, again quotation continues, Philip saith unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Jesus said unto him, have I been so long time with you? Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, O Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. And how sayest thou? It is all in old English, no? How do you say that show us our Father? Believe that not that I am in the Father. Believe not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the work. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. This is John, according to John 14:7. What does it mean? It means, Ramakrishna also said, no, I do not know anything. Whatever mother tells me, Whatever mother guides me, I am nobody. So here, the Ramakrishna and the Divine Mother, they are two entities. But in that experience level, personality is gone. Ramakrishna personality, so the Divine Mother personality is working fully well. In us also, when our ego goes away, the divine will work through it. Also, let us remember that Jesus asked Peter, "Love thou me." You love me. That means you love me means you love God. Because in Ramakrishna, in Christ, in Buddha, there is no I like us. We have our petty I, this egocentric I. My choice, my likes, my dislikes, my happiness, my misery. I. But in Ramakrishna, this I is totally zero. And there is nothing but mother. Everything is dictated. That's why it's called the gods and angels. They speak through the holy people. Only God's message comes. Thus, it is that when love comes, God reveals himself. One of the greatest indication of truth that God incarnates as human being is that he transfigures himself before his disciples. And as for instance, Jesus did. We read in the Gospel of St. Matthew what he says, quote, "And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as sun, and his raiment was white as the light." Christ revealed before this John, Peter, James, and John. So it is God's revelation. God must have to be kind enough to reveal. But he reveals to whom? Where there is no ego. Reveals to whom? Who is purified by sadhana, practice. In this 11th book of the Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we find Sri Krishna revealing himself as God in his universal form to his beloved disciple and friend Arjuna. And he reveals himself to all those who love him dearly. No? So Sri Krishna manifested his divinity and revealed himself, who is he, before Arjuna when he prayed, "Oh Lord, please show your divine form. I want to see you, who you are really." Sri Ramakrishna also underwent transfigurations before his beloved disciple many times. Years after his passing away, Swami Sarvadevananda asked my master, means Swami Brahmananda, to look at the model of a statue of Sri Ramakrishna and see if he approved of it. Maharaj was then in a high spiritual mood and asked, quote, "But which form of the master?" quote ends. Because he had seen Ramakrishna transfigured into many forms. Once, as a young boy, he saw him as Mother Kali and went into Samadhi. So Ramakrishna revealed himself to his disciples. And when he revealed, they could understand who is Ramakrishna. So then your doubt goes away. Then your heart swells in joy. The Lord may come to us in many forms. On page 77. But we do not know, always recognize him, unless he reveals himself to us and until we have deep love for him. God may stand here and I will look at him, I will not recognize him. When Ramakrishna was in a human body or Christ was walking in the streets of Galilee, how many people have realized that he is God himself, God incarnated in the human body? So that is the main point. Then he relates a story. He says, "I shall relate a personal experience in this connection." And he says that many years ago, some 4 brahmacharis went on a pilgrimage in Badrinarayan in the high Himalayas, no? 4 holy places, Kedar, Badri, Gangotri, Yamunotri. These are the 4 holy spots in Himalayas. People go for visiting. So these 4 brahmacharis went together to that Badri, holy place, Narayan. There is a Narayan temple, Badri Narayan, in the Himalayas. One among this was a Gurudas Maharaj. He was from Holland. Yeah, son Gurudas Maharaj, Atulananda. His name was Hablang. So he also was a party. 4 out of 4. One was that Swami, Holland Swami, and other 3 were Indians. But in Indian temple, they don't allow any Westerner inside. There is a place hole you can see from outside, but you don't go inside. So one among us was Gurudas Maharaj, who was Westerner. At the time, the priests didn't allow any Westerner to go into the inside of the shrine of a Hindu temple. When we arrived, we found many pilgrims were seated in the courtyard of the temple. The doors were then closed, temple door is not open. We are also seated in one corner of the courtyard with other pilgrims. A few minutes later, I saw a priest beckoning to me. Hey, come, come. As I approached him, he said, ask your friends also to come in with me. So, an unknown priest, door is closed of the temple, but he called, come, come. And all the 4 of them followed the priest. And let enter into the inner. And then he took us around by the side of the temple, opened the door, and let us enter into the innermost shrine, like in the innermost shrine there. When the other pilgrims are wanted to enter, the priest said, no, it is not time for you yet. And he shut the door. Then we saw the priest standing beside the deity. Normally we go, we stand this side and the Lord is facing us. He went, the priest standing with the deity, that side. It didn't occur to us then that as a general rule, no priest does this. He always stands facing the deity. After a few minutes of darshan, we were asked by the priest to go out. And then the door was locked again. So the door was locked inside. A little later, the head priest refused to allow us to enter in the sanctum sanctorium. When the real priest came, it is a mystic priest. A priest, God has come in sudden form, beckoned them, opened the door, took them, and had their vision, which otherwise other priests will not allow. So the head priest then came, and for a little later, the head priest came and refused to allow us to enter into the sanctorium, though he made arrangements for us to look at the deity from the door at a time when other pilgrims are not allowed to enter, so that our view would be unobstructed. And the head priest also gave us accommodation, sent us delicious sacramental food. We were there for 3 days and 3 nights as honored guests. During our stay, we became acquainted with a few other priests who lived there. But it seemed strange to us that we never saw the priest who took us to the innermost shrine. On our way back, we visited Swami Turiyananda, a disciple of Ramakrishna. He was then living at Almora in the Himalayas, and we reported the incident to him. He said excitedly, "Ah, how foolish you are not to have the recognize the Lord. It was Lord, He, who appeared in that form and led you to the inmost shrine." That means it is a revelation. Revelation, God's grace is necessary to have this revelation. So what this book says, I'll read a. Question can be done in. Let me read this. Not as a I'm reading the other book of the same explanation of the same verses, just quick reading. (33 and 34). So, the allusion in the word Raja is to well-known story of the Prince Achota. That is the previous verse. What I say that uh, the allusion in the word Raja is to well-known story of the prince who was lost by his father in his childhood and was taken care of some hermit in the forest. When the boy, who was ignorant of his parentage and who considered himself a mere hermit, heard of his parentage accidentally, nothing new in produced, but he is only reminded of an existing fact. So one is remain of one's true status when one realizes the highest self. Here, the reference of the house is to be the experience of the wayfarer who returns home after a long absence. The home continues to be his home even in his absence, but the distance which obstructed the enjoyment is removed when he comes back. The pleasant experience of his home were concluded by his long absence, but they are again revived as soon as he comes back. Nothing new is produced by his coming back. The reference in Bhojana is to the experience of the hungry man who has dinner. The dinner does not produce any new satisfaction, but only removes the disturbances caused by hunger. When the uneasiness is removed, the natural satisfaction remains disturbed. These illustrations show how spiritual practices really work. They result only in removing the obstructions to the natural experience of the self, which is eternal and never produced by any effort or pain. Now, 32 verse. Not as a result of hearing of the news does the hermit becomes prince. He was a prince already, and no status was added to him by his mere hearing. The wayfarer's satisfaction is also there already. Nothing new was added to him by his return. So also the satisfaction of having healthy body is already there. Taking of food does not create anything new, but only removes the disturbances caused by hunger. With this sutra, the discussion on parabhakti comes to an end. So now we have 10 minutes. So what we have emphasized today's reading, that mere talk will not do, experience is the point. No? So 33rd verse is Tasmat Swaiva Gajjamo Mukshivi. And that was the last part. This thing, what we read today is that God must have to reveal His glory, then will be our realization will come. But our practice is not for realizing Him, but to remove the obstacles. Intellectually, knowing even is not enough, but to experience God. That is the point. And he said that God comes in many forms. We cannot recognize them unless the mind becomes pure as such. Okay, then what is the question? We go for the question for a few minutes. It is often said that the way to overcome worldly desires is to direct these passions towards God. But how can that be? Is it a trick to move away from the worldly desires for novice seekers of God. Suppose I want to eat something. When I eat, I think I am satisfying my tongue. But before eating, when you mentally see that, oh Lord, please you take this food. And then if you think of God, what is happening? You are not eating just as a very ordinary person who only enjoys the food. But you are making it little going through the touch of God. God is coming in between. With that thought of God, when you are taking, you think, I am eating the prasad, the food which is sanctified by God's glances. So that making you spiritual. Little touch of God, little touch of, how can we bring a little touch of God in our all actions? It's a big practice, spiritual practice. How we live in the world, but how we can make every day little touch of God. Suppose I like fragrance, okay? So you purchase beautiful, what you call, the incense, and you put the incense, you wave around the Lord, huh? And where the smell will go? Is it not coming on your own nose? So you are experiencing the fragrance, not direct, but you are offering to God. Your mind is thinking, I am offering to God. You get the experience of the incense as anyone will get, but you are sanctifying the mind, purifying yourself. So all the five senses, what we eat. There is one song, Ahar karo mone karo ahuti dei shama mare manoboli bhajo kali. Oh my mind, I request you to call upon Mother Divine. When you eat something, ahar karo, then you think, mone karo, you think that you are offering to whom? Not to your own stomach, but you think, Holy Divine Mother is here, I am putting this food and it is going to her only. So seeing only mental thought that it is not for my enjoyment, but I'm offering to Mother. Actually, in all realistic point, when you put them, you think this way, but when you are putting the food, is it not going to your physical body? But no, for you, it is sanctified. You are thinking that in me is Mother, and Mother is enjoying this. I am giving Mother. So this is the way deifying. This is called the deification of our life. In every way, we have to deify our all thoughts connected with God. Deification. You see a beautiful flowers. Anyone who is seeing a beautiful flower, they pluck it like that. Huh? But a devotee, what will he do? Oh, see, beautiful flower. Let us take it and first go to God. What is happening? You are thinking of God. That's purifying. Though you are charmed with the beauty of the flower, its color, its fragrance or something, but when you are connecting with God, then it is not going to a person who is passionate about all enjoyment of their senses. It is getting purified through the channel of God. So this is the point to think about.
Yes, two questions.
The internet's going in and out. I don't understand.
Eh?
Yeah, you can
The
answer another.
internet is going in and out.
Yeah, how do I fall in love with my Ishta Devata? How we fall in love with God? That is the same question. How we fall in love? We have to pray. Oh Lord, Ramakrishna taught us like a child. Oh Lord, give me devotion, give me love. I have no devotion for you. Remove my other earthly cravings. I forget you day and night. Please help me, please help me. Like that prayer, doing japa, feeling helplessness, and surrendering to God. These are the way to feel more connected with our divine who is within us. Like we are helpless. We may try, but success is not in our hand. So we have to surrender and to say, how can I love you more? Oh Lord, remove my other cravings. I have other cravings, that's why I cannot love you so dearly. My love is not 100% pure. So you please purify me and guide me, take me to the right direction. So that should be.
One,
Huh?
one.
Should one choose a job that serves more people and God within them, civil servant, or as any job fine in divine drama, as long as we continue practicing japa meditation to progress. You know, if you get a good job which is congenial for your spiritual practice also, does not disturb you, that's the best thing. Of course we like that. But in reality, in life, it may not happen. But whatever situation, we have to earn some money for our survival. So you cannot just stop doing any job. So, but how to think that I am not doing my job, but I am serving God through this job. So that idea should be brought. We can choose, first question, if we choose a job that serves more people and God within, yes, that should be the first choice. If I can serve God more, that congenial environment, I think of God that I'm serving many God, may God in many form. And also God within, being a servant. Or as any job, in any job, in any job in the world is serving someone. You are working in IT, professional. Yes, your IT technology is giving help to someone. Yeah? So you are a accountant, you think that you are doing accountancy, it has nothing spiritual. But without that accounting, the institution will not function. An institution will not be able to serve the people, earn the money. Whatever business may be there, but all institutions have some service to the world, to the human being. So it is service will be for all. And we have to do, whether we do according to our choices to work, which is beneficial. There we can do as a service to God. And when we are doing something, not there are many people in the office you are working, on the computer you are working day and night. You think it is no, I am not helping anyone. No, you are helping. Because to that, I say that this is for the benefit of someone's uh, good. So whatever we do, we have to practice japa meditation, that should go along with it. But at the same time, we will be very much dedicated and concentrated that everything I do, I offer it to God. I offer it to God. I offer it to God. So that should be common practice for all, whether we are here or there, or we like or dislike. Okay? So japa meditation should be continuous practice. That should be there. And in the divine drama, all job are within that God's drama. So whatever we do, we'll have to think that is for the service of God. In Ramakrishna mission, look at the Swamis are doing, Brahmacharis are doing, all types of work. So if you say someone who is doing the puja, he is doing only Lord's work, and who is kitchen in the kitchen, eh, with pots and pans and chopping vegetable and cooking, is it God's work? Where is God's work? No, that's also God's work. Someone is working on the computer. Someone is working in the office accountants. Someone is teaching in the professional school and colleges. No? So It's all service to God. So we have to bring this idea that whatever we do, it is a service to God with this job or that job or that job or that job. It is all service to God. But at the beginning, for till we become very mature, it will be helpful if we get a job of our own choice where I can have more opportunity for meditation, prayer, japa, and think of God and feel that I'm doing something concrete. Yes, there is a change. Suppose you are in a organization, you are working, which is helping the homeless people. huh? You are paid little amount, but you are serving the homeless people. Homeless house building, this, that. Is it helping? You feel good that I served these poor people. But that's good if you feel like that. But if not, you have to think that all activity is an offering to God. And that should give us spirituality. Ah, that's the Gita says, Jat Jat Karma Karomi Tat Tad Akilam Bhavatava Aradhanam Shambho. Oh Shiva, but not in Gita. Whatever karma I do, every karma is an offering to you. Okay, we end here. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Namastu. So we'll meet again at 7:30 for the class of Nectar of Supreme Knowledge today.
The last class, right?
Last class of this month. From next month, probably we are the first Tuesday. Again, another 7 days are there. So we'll read that other book. Let us see. We start how it goes. It's called Shanti Gita. Thank you. But book is not available and it is not online. So I will have to do something. And I don't know how to send it to you people who are listening. If I have the email, we have the email.
Yeah, you can also upload it in chat. You can read.
So we can upload it and read it. Okay, that's okay. Jai Ma. So thank you all.